Hello there, this is David from David Books and Comics, and today I want to show you some of the latest book that I purchased from our local bookstore, and this is Michael Moorcock's latest edition of the Elric Saga in this beautifully uh, painted cover volume of the Citadel of Forgotten Myths. And here we have an excellent depiction of Elric carrying his rune sword sheathed in the background there. Um, and so this is the latest edition. The stories take place in the events that are recounted in this part of the saga, part two, which is the 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 period in Elric's life that he joins up with one of a really nice, very friendly, uh, good person that's described in the novel, a guy named Moonglum, and it also features mentions Zarazinia. Um, so the events take place uh, after, I believe, Vanishing Tower, somewhere between Vanishing Tower and Bane of the Black Sword, somewhere in there. And the this particular book um, describes a event similar to what takes place in this book. Actually, in this book we have the main villain uh, being Elric's cousin Irkun, who kidnaps his girlfriend Cimmeril, Elric's girlfriend Cimmeril, and really takes control of Cimmeril's life and nearly, I mean, it's horrendous the way it's actually described in what Yurkun actually does to Cimmeril. But anyway, and then we have a similar kind of plot story recounted in this volume, featuring the main villain in this story is a guy named Thaleb Karna, who sets out to try to take over uh, the Melnibonéans. Now, the sword that Elric uses is a sword called Stormbringer, and there's also mention of a companion sword. That's why you see two swords on the cover. A sword called Mournblade. Both these swords are what's called sentient swords or living swords. They once you stab somebody or a being with it, it literally sucks the life out of that being. And in Elric's case, it becomes a source of what keeps him alive. Because Elric is very dependent on potions and herbs and his sword, Stormbringer, to give him sustenance. This story is a little more tamer in terms of, seems to be anyway, when I've started to read it, a little more tamer than the initial stories that Moorcock wrote. Um, I mean, the theme of these stories is sword and sorcery, so hopefully it has all of the action and adventure one would expect to find in the story. So I'm really looking forward to reading it and delighted to have this copy of the latest copy of the Elric Saga, the Citadel of Forgotten Myths. I also wanted to show you some of the other books that I've had in my Elric collection. So the actual first books that I've ever read were this British version of Elric. This is the actual copy of the first book that I read that was published back in the 1970s by Arrow Books, called Elric of Melniboné. It's not exactly one of my favorite depictions, actually, of Elric, Like I said, I prefer more the Michael Will and Dawbook depictions. And this is one of the later editions. So I read these first four novels. This is published by Grenada Mayflower back in the 1970s. This beautiful cover, very colorful cover, although it didn't quite capture the way I imagined. And that's the way it's vividly described by Moorcock in the novels. And and this is the last novel, which I read. And again, it's not one of my favorite covers. This is a much better cover, obviously. And this was actually the one, as I said before in a previous episode, the one that they used in, I think it's volume 2, which is an anthology volume that collects the last stories of the Elric Saga by Michael Moorcock. And I wanted to show you some of these other editions. These are the Robert Gould covers. This is Weird of the White Wolf, book 3 in the saga. The thin little paperback, published by Berkeley. Yeah, the Dawbooks edition is considered the first, 1977. And here's Sailor on the Seas of Fates. This is book 2. This is a much better, beautiful cover. Robert Gould did the cover art. And just mention that he also did the cover art for these two and the third volume of the Elric Saga, which I really like actually. This beautiful painted cover was, I think it's the one that's mentioned here. It says jacket illustration by Bastien Lecouf de Harme. Oh, beautiful depiction. And of course, it has the end paper with featuring the map of Elric's world and what was called the Young Kingdoms. There's Melnibone, there's Pentang, the island of where a lot of the action involving Philip Carnot takes place. And here's our author, Michael Moorcock. I also wanted to show the original comic books. I believe they came out in published initially by First Comics. Um, the script was written by Roy Thomas, and the artwork by Michael T. Davis and P. Craig Russell. And if you want to follow, the text is very close to the original novel, the first novel. You get a depiction of the war that's described in the first volume. Yeah, so that's that, and then it has the other volumes. Again, nice, nice cover, a good depiction, but again, I do prefer the actual novels. All right, so thanks, and remember to like and subscribe if possible, and if you need if I left anything out, or if you want to add anything or ask any questions, feel free and make a comment. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.